Chaim, we're Motzei Tanis Esther Lel Shishi of Shabbos Zachor. I never even thought about this until this year, because it's not that common. It's not every year that Purim will come out on Motzei Shabbos. So you have Tanis Esther before Shabbos Zachor. Generally, the way it is Shabbos Zachor, and then Erev Purim is Tanis Esther. And here this year, we have Tanis Esther before Shabbos Zachor, which is very interesting. And I'll tell you why it's very interesting. And I'm going to say some things, that are in my book, and some things that are, vintage. But by the way, if you haven't gotten my book yet, getting a lot of compliments on it, and it doesn't expire with Purim. Of course, Purim is the central theme, but it's also on the Dal Parshas. It takes you straight through Parshas Parah and Parshas HaChodesh, and you'll have it for next year also. Remember, if Mashiach comes, first of all, when Mashiach comes, we keep all the Yomim Tovim. It's only in Olam Haba that we talk about the Modos being Asid and Libato. But in days of Mashiach, we keep all the halach. We have Taryag Mitzvahs, at least initially when Mashiach first comes. It's just after things phase out into and physicality begins to disappear, as we phase out into becoming Olam Haba, that's when we talk about mitzvahs being batel, and that's the Modos being batel, but not Purim. So this book is timeless. This book is timeless. It's for Olam Haba also. Okay. So even when after all the Modos will be batel, Yemei Purim lo Yavadol v'Zichron lo Yosef. So now I just want to explain, so as not to take away anything that's from in the Sefer,
because this link, by the way, to the Arizona chat,
right?
Fine. So you might see some people going on there.
Okay, so the wanted to explain, how it is in a regular year, and what and maybe together work out with you of how things are a little bit reversed this year. Okay. The Indian of doing Shabbos Zachor, the mitzvah of Zachor, that we do it on the Shabbos before. That why not on Purim itself? It's the day of Mechias, so let's do the mitzvah of Zachor, which, by the way, al pi halacha, as far as I know, you could be yotze mitzvah of Zachor with the Kriya of Purim day by Yavo Amalek. So even it's not the sukkah of Zachor per se, but you will read the story and you're mekayim the mitzvah. Right, but we bedafka want to be magdim the mitzvah before. It should be done before Purim, right? Okay, so what's the source for that? Because the poskim reference the pasuk and nizkarim v'nasim. Zechiras before Asiyah, so we have to do Shabbos Zachor before Asiyah because Purim represents Mechias Hamok, even though that's not, we're going to explain that, that's in broad brushstrokes, that the Asiyah is on Purim. Purim represents really the day after Mechias Hamok. It's the day afterwards, V'noch Ba'avarsa, but it's definitely the world. It represents like Purim was a portal in time to a world without Amalek. So that's why it's, Mechias Hamok, it's the Asiyah, even though it's really the day after, the Muhammad's the day before. And that's commemorated with Tanis Esther. And that's what would make it even more apropos to at least, even if we're not going to do it on Purim, because Purim is the day after, so do Zechiras Amalek on Tanis Esther. Right? Because it would be the Zechira before the Asiyah. And so apropos, because as we mentioned last night in the night call, and we have it in our Sefer, one of the ta'amim for Tanis Esther is that was the day of the Milchama. Right, so so do it, together with the Milchama. You would think, right? Was the 13th.
I mean, the 13th. After
the day before, the day before.
Oh, it's a good. Okay,
right. We celebrate Purim V'noach, but it's still called the day of Asiyah of Milchama because we're enjoying a world without Amalek. Mm-hmm. It's the V'noach. And anyone will come visit me on Purim, I'm going to say stuff that's not in the book of why it's called V'noach Bar Basar. V'noach b'chamisha asar. It's called V'noach. It's the day of V'noach. Because, the real Mechias Amalek is, the day after. It's not the engaging of him. It is the, to get past him. Timcha Zechar. He's not even a memory anymore. It's getting past. It's the situation of Mechias Amalek is to get to a world where there's no Amalek. That's why really it's the day after is the kiyum of the Mechia, because he's gone. He's gone. It's you got to get to that tachlis, to that goal, to that finish line. Again, we're getting into very interesting lumdus, if you just kill a bunch of Amalekim, just a few, right? Yeah, you go to war, you kill a few, right? But you didn't kill all of them, right? So will you eat to the mitzvah of Mechias Amalek? I don't think so. It's like Chatzi Shir. It's like you ate matzah, but you didn't eat a whole kazayas, because you got to get to a world of timcha. I think all these wars we've had against Amalek, I'm reflecting, saying is that there wasn't the Mechias Shem. It wasn't the Mechias Shem. It's not, you have to get to a tachlis of no Amalek in the world, of Timcha Zechar Amalek. So, every bit that you do is like a mitzvah, but it's not the full kiyum mitzvah. It's, and then when the pasuk that we're going to read on Shabbos, by now we're calling it about the future. We're going to be settled in Eretz Yisrael. We're going to have rest from all areas. Then Timcha Zechar Amalek. That's when it's going to happen. That's when it's going to happen. Right? There's no other enemies to contend with. We're already sovereign in our nation. That's what's going to be Timcha. And I don't know. I think every Milchemes Amalek until then it's just like. Call it, Chatzi Shir. It's like eating half a kazayas of matzah on Pesach. It's of course it's a mitzvah, and of course it's going to help and add up to the eventual mechil. But I think the real kiyum mitzvah is no Amalek in the world at all. No Amalek in the world at all.
Shaul was Eis Lasos. It wasn't even the mitzvah from the Torah. Because otherwise, why would you have a Navi need to tell Shaul about it? There was no kiyum of the mitzvah of Timcha Zechar Amalek from that.
Well, no, I mean, that's also like what the Minchas Chinuch points out is that this din of even killing their livestock, seemingly that was a special din in Al Pi Nevuah, even though Rashi does bring in a chumash based on that, Timcha Zechar, even killing their animals, but the Minchas was wondering they may have just been saying special Al Pi Nevuah. No, and look, and indeed, the mitzvah of wiping out Amalek is a mitzvah on Klal Yisrael. It's not, as I was telling Yoni, who's sitting with me here tonight. There is a difference between. There are quite a few differences between Mechias Amalek and killing out the Shiva Amamin. And one of them, it seems to be from the Rambam, that the din of Mechias Amalek is purely a din on the tzibur. And when we have a melech that unites us as a tzibur, and without a melech and it's a mitzvah on the klal. Whereas by Shiva Amin could be the asay is a mitzvah on the klal, but there is a low saseh even on the individual, not to leave a single one of them alive. If you have one, and the Lashon Rambam, if you encounter one of them, you could. But the same Rambam says it doesn't apply anymore because they're gone already. But it says, but it's usher for a yochid to leave one of them alive. He doesn't say that then by a mullet. There's no din of lo sechaya kol neshama, the lo saseh. The lo saseh of lo sechaya kol neshama is by Shiva Amin.
Who was it that Bill called Umos? That
was Sancherev. Right. All right. So now the so kvar avad zichron, but it could be it's Kenzan. I'm not holding in the sugya right now, but it could be that the asay of killing the Shiva Amin Hachar and Tachriyim is a mitzvah on the cloud, but there is also a lo saseh of lo sechai kol neshama that the Rambam says in that connection. You have one of them, you can take them out. You do. There is no such lav of leave none of them alive by a mullet. There's just the asay of Timcha Zechar Amalek, which is on the tzibur. right? And it's going to take all the generations together to get rid of him, right? So that you can understand that Purim, the Vinoach Bar Basar, is mamish to the reason why it's called the Asiya, even though our Hishtadlus in the mitzvah, our Hishtadlus of the mitzvah was the day before. But you understand, but Mechias Malchus to get to a goal of Noam Malchus, and Purim is a portal to that great day. It's a portal to the future. Right, and you just got a nice gem that I don't know if I express black and white in my book. I definitely imply it, but that's why Purim is called the Asiya, even though the war was the day before. But the din of Timcha is to get to that great tomorrow where there is no Amalek in the world, and of course the war is a chelik of the mitzvah, but the kiyum mitzvah is with the tachlis, right? Like I'll just say very quickly, as I have a lot of rises, like for instance, the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. You have to learn Kol Torah Kula. Of course, every time you learn, it's a mitzvah. You haven't learned Kol Torah Kula every time you've learned. You gotta every limud is a ma'isa mitzvah, but the kiyum mitzvah is when you've learned Kol Torah Kula. Same thing with Peruvu. Every time a person is mishtadel, he's done a mitzvah, even though the kiyum mitzvah is only when he actually has kids. Right? What's like also. There's a chakir of the Achroina. I think they attribute this chakir to Rabbi Soslanter himself. It says, is the mitzvah on Purim to drink or to get drunk? Is a adaloyada. So but adaloyada means when I reach adaloyada, I'm potter from drinking. Or because I have to drink to get to Adaloyada.
What was the first time?
The mitzvah is to just drink. To drink.
What does that mean? It says clearly Adaloyada.
No, that's the
shear.
I'm allowed to stop.
Oh, that's the shear, no?
No, so you're saying the other side of Chakira. Then you have to reach Adaloyada. So the question is, Adaloyada is the kiyum or it's the ptur? So this is what they say. So what's the nafkamina? It just sounds like a philosophical, just a pure philosophical. No,
you do more or less.
And the African say is what happens if you reached Adloyara and then you sobered up. You have to drink again. Because if you have to just reach Adloyara, you did the mitzvah already. You reached it. You reached Adloyara, right? But if just the chiyuv is to drink, just your potter from drinking. So if you sober up, you have to resume drinking. That's an afkamina. It's all attributed to so slanter.
So how do we pass him?
Problem is I've never met a guy that is sobered up on Purim. That. So I know you're sober now. Drink again. It's never happened. I never. At least it's interesting. You have such a gibor that he's. Anyways, but it reminds me that the way we're saying right now in the Gedder of Mechias Amalek. Right, that you have to reach that. You have to, the kiyum mitzvah never happened in history. Killing a Amaleki is just, as it were, a ma'isa. You're doing your part, but you have to reach kiyum mitzvah. Like you have to learn Torah. Except by Torah is a little bit different because even learning one word of Torah is a mitzvah. It's not just a chtim to reach Kol Torah. Of course, that's not my example from Puruvu is more accurate. The way I understand it, not like the Minchas Chinuch. But that, of course, your mitzvah is to do. Your mitzvah is to do and do whatever it takes to make children. So every time you do it, that's your Maisa mitzvah. You're not going to have a Kiyum mitzvah until you have children. So that's your Maisa mitzvah, but it's your Kiyum mitzvah. They're two different things, and I think, but by Shiva Salmin, it seems to me at least the Gabe that lo sase, every time you ice one, you definitely got out of being over on a low sase for sure. As Ken said, it's also called the kiyum of the asay, even though it could be
even now. But nowadays, there's no shem uma of Knami and Prizia, right?
Right.
See, even if you wouldn't be able to find out that someone has that.
No, because it's bottle,
right? But
Amalek is not that way, and we prove that. We say it in the Sefer. Because Amalek is a nice different type of nation. It's a virus. It's in the Hakdama to the book, and we have another few entries on it. And In this book, I don't go through all the lumdish proofs that the Rambam Mamash holds that way. Amalek is still out there. The Rambam holds. The same Rambam says, Kfar Ovad Zichram. Hashiva Amin holds Amalek is out there. He is out there because he's he's racist guy. He could assimilate into any nation. He's a shapeshifter. That's me, door. So, Haman was a Parsi. Hitler was a German.
It's not DNA based. It's not like lineage, or it is lineage. Meaning, if someone adopts the ideology of Amalek,
that makes it Amalek. Yes,
become Amalek
because they're racist goyim, the head of all nations. They infiltrate the brain of any nation. So now, chances are there's always going to be some Amalek DNA also, but it's the Siman of Amalek is their ideology. Racist goyim. It's a virus. It's a virus. That's why you have to be Timcha Zachor Amalek, because even one virus, got to get every remnant, can start a whole pandemic again. Right? It's every Zachor Amalek. You've got to get rid of any virus, single virus. Yeah, Shvera, man. Yeah, Amalek is there. And like we said, now he's in Iran and he's back in Persia again, but he's also in leftism. That's what Amalek is. He's a virus and a shapeshifter. He takes on different host nations. He's racist goyim.
How is it a type of racist goyim? What's the
first amongst nations, as in leader of nations or head of nations?
I mean, he's not an ummah b'fnei atzmo of himself.
That's right. He has that.
He doesn't have any actual.
Vayachalos Yoshua ves Amal v'chad. Yoshua weakened Amalek and his nation. He could be his own nation, but he also could be Amalek. Doesn't have to be his own nation.
He can just attach himself to another.
Infiltrate any nation. Oh, you're not having a water fight in the house. You are not having a water fight in the house. I'm sorry, bro. It's like Purim already in my household. It's amazing, right? So now, going back to this, this is all, we're just for bringing, on alcohol on an empty stomach after a tinus. So this is, this is like a Motzei Tanis Esther for bringing. Imagine how big the iris will be on Purim. All right, so everyone come by 1130 Silverton Road, Toms River, New Jersey. 1130 Silverton Road, Toms River, New Jersey. From Motzei Shabbos till Chatzos Halayla on Sunday night. Okay. Anyways, we could all do Tikkun Leah together. You don't do Tikkun Rachel on day. You don't say Tachanon. We'll do Tikkun Leah together. Inevitably sure. Anyways, so but the way we're saying it, the way it's coming out, is that this side of the Chakira that you have to reach Adlo Yoda, because Adlo Yoda represents the world where Amalek is Batal and the world is Kulo Tov. And then even what we would call Orah Haman then at that time will be Mitzdaref L'Toiva, because Ra won't have independent foothold anymore. It'll lose its foothold of being Sitra Achra, other side. There won't be two sides to the issue. So when Ra has no separate space, no separate foothold, you see, not that you don't just have to. You will see that it was just there Litzorech Hatov. Yeah, it's only when it has separate space to stand that it can have the illusion of being the other team, the Sitra Achra, the other side, right? So Purim is like Mamish. It's the reason why it's called the Asiyas. It's the world. It's a portal to the world of that we're striving for. The day after Amalek is gone, which is the real Tachlis HaMitzvah. Say that's when Am Yisrael finally be Mekayim. It's because it was for them. Hashem ba'amalek midor. It's only v'yavanech Hashem lokach lacham mikovar misaviv in the future that Timcha Zachor Amalek. That will have the key. But so Purim is a portal to the day, to the world of Kiyum HaMitzvah, and Kiyum HaMitzvah is after. The killing is just a heketimtza to reach, that tachlis. And I'm saying in that way, at least the gabi the los hasev, los sachaya kol neshama by shiva, almost, that could be a chiluk that there's mamash a whole kiyum of like at least avoiding that los haseh minimally. When you wipe on, I'm like, it's all hechsher mitzvah. But it could be, it's a little bit more than extra sense. Like you ate, chatzi zayis matzah. We couldn't get to all kazayis before Seder night was over. According to Los Bazar, to Chatzos, according to Kivan, to Alos Shachar. Okay, but I'm just saying, the way we're saying the tzad of the Chakira right? That you have to reach, that the tachlis is ad lo yada. That stims better because ad lo yada represents getting to that world where the Ra has no independent space to stand, and there's no difference between Or Haman and Baruch Mordechai because there are no two sides to the issue. Everything converges, and you see that the Ra was just in service of the Tov. Right, it's only right now it has the illusion of being the other team if it has space to stand. You could stand on the other side of court. It is the Zachor, on that great day. There are no two sides to the issue, and the Ra converges into the Tov to be like a decoration, like an embellishment, right? And we spoke about this at Donnie's house by Purim Cotton. Okay, so now that's why Purim is called the Asiyah. Right, because the real Asiya is getting to being after Amalek, not fighting with him. That's the Hechsher mitzvah. It has to be Timcha. There's no memory left of him, and while you're still fighting with him, he's still here. Right, it has to be the day after. That's the real Asiya. All right, but I'll call Parim. But the Milchama was on the 13th. So now by the original Milchemes Amalek. Right, it was in two phases: Moshe with the hands up, and Yoshua by the sword. Right, which we discuss heavily in our Sefer. Get the book; it's on Amazon. Just click in Evan Shasia, click in Nes Bapurim, it'll turn up. Click in Beckhofer, it'll turn up. Anyways, get it. You can't have it. If you order now, you can have it by Purim. Anyways, and if not, so you have it for Olam Haba, like we said. Right. Anyways, so my question is like this: what if Moshe Rabbeinu was necessary from Milchemes Amalek? Without his hands up, we would lose. Right? His hands went down, we were losing. Right? If we didn't have his hands, no one, not having his hands up ever. Right? Right. So where's Moshe Rabbeinu in all future wars of Amalek? If he plays such a pivotal role with his hands up, right? So no, so that's the of Shabbos Zachor. The Zechira, what does hands up, represent? The Mishnah says, Shabbos, what is in hands? Meir Eloch, Shekoyes Man Sheir Yisrael, Mistaklim Kapei Mal Shalom Lavim Shabashma Meinotzre. When they're much better reminded, remember all your koach, your hands. Your koach comes from Hashem. No kochi votes him. You ought to remember it's all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Got to remember it's all from Hashem. Right? So, this is amazing. I don't even know if I mentioned this in my book, that there's an interesting Medrash Tanhuma that talks about Shabbos and Amalek are like a good twin, bad twin. They both have a mitzvah of Zachor. Zachor Yom Shas Kacho, and Zachor says Shas Amalek. It's a Tanchum, Parshas Kisei. And the Medrash says, that sounds crazy. It's like they get the same treatment. Shabbos, the holiest day, and Amalek, the worst of, the greatest villain. So says the Medrash of Mashal. The Medrash says of Mashal that a king had a Suda, and he invites all his friends to Suda. When the Suda, is all laid out, the tables are laden with all good. He says, Zachor Ploni Avi. Let's take out a second to remember so-and-so who I love. Then they demolish the whole shmorg, there's nothing left. Say, Zachor Ploni Soni, let's take out a minute to remember so-and-so who I hate. Say, Lezei, Skarta Lezei, Skarta Shulchan Mole, Skarta Shulchan Rekam. Right, this one I mentioned on a whole table laden with all good. This guy mentioned on an empty table. So also we say the table we make kiddush. The table is laden with all good, and b'aretz halacha, don't make kiddush on an empty table. Put out the chalas, put out the first course. It should be malay kotuv. And and Amalek, we remember in context of Timcha Zecher Amalek. What's Shan the Medrash? Because Shabbos is to remember and get in touch with what is. Mole, what is. Right? And of course, Shabbos says that the whole Bria comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu's hands represented, hands up. Remember who gives you your strength. Shabbos reminds us of what is. You need to know what is to see how Amalek isn't. You say Amalek's not real. Amalek's not real. Amalek's not real. That's Zachor, that Timcha. See him, remember that he's nothing. And you have to bring him to that nothingness that he really is. Okay, how am I supposed to believe that if I don't have a picture of what is reality? That was the function of Moshe Rabbeinu's hands up. And that's the function of Shabbos. And Shabbos supplements for the Zechira of Moshe Rabbeinu's hands. Shabbos is the replacement for that. And that's why Zachor, which is to get in touch with how Amalek is nothing. And he's nothing. And I have to destroy him because that'll bring him back to what he really is, nothing. He's not something, he's nothing. And I have to remember that he's be'etzem nothing, and therefore, and follow suit and make him nothing. Right? He's nothing masquerading as something. Right? But how do I do that if I don't have a picture of what reality is? What is the real reality? So when we have Moshe Rabbeinu, that was Moshe Rabbeinu with his hands up. Instead, now we have the Shabbos instead. And the Shabbos, and that's why Zechira, which was the function of Moshe Rabbeinu's hands, has to be before the Asiyah, which is Yoshua by the sword. Right? So the Zechira has to be, so what's going to be the Zechira? The Zachor Siyam Shabbos Lakacho. Shabbos reminds you, everything is from Hashem.
That's why Shabbos Shachar says Moshe Rabbeinu.
And that's right. Now to tighten the connection, Yismach Moshe Maschoko, right? Because Moshe Rabbeinu gives us back the Ksarm of Nasa V'Nishma on Shabbos, and the Ksarm of Nasa Kodem L'Nishma represents hands over head. And Moshe says, your Asiyah is even bigger than, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu himself gives us back that koach of hands up, which is Nasa for Nishma on Shabbos. So that's why Zechiras Maismok has to be on Shabbos. Before the Asiyah, having Moshe, it is connected.
The question was why couldn't it just be on
Erev Purim, on Tanis Esther? We need Shabbos.
Meaning we could have done the Kriya of Tanis Esther, could have been
Zechiras Amalek.
But all Tanism are always the same. We always saying the same thing.
What? Yeah, we could have added.
We could have added on.
Could have been a maftir,
Okay.
Right? But we need Shabbos to supplement for Moshe Rabbeinu's hands.
Has to happen dafka on Shabbos.
That's why it has to be on Shabbos.
It has to be mamish samach l'purim too.
Right, Shabbos samach l'purim. But now generally, the way it works out is the Pella. Now with this, it took us longer to get here than I thought. Right. Look, guys out there in video land, I have a very sore throat. I need to drink. Listen, and Yoni. Because if you saw, he feels my pain. And that's why he's drinking also. L'chaim. This is small stuff. Can remember what's the Uris are going to be on Purim. So here's the pellet. Now you understand the gravity of what's bothering me and what I'm struggling with right now. And I haven't seen anything on Svarim. I haven't looked, but I don't think it's addressed anywhere because even though this year I haven't looked, I've seen in my research from years past, I've never seen anyone, because generally it all makes sense. So in a conventional year, it'll be Shabbos Zachor, Tanis Esther, Purim. Shabbos Zachor, Moshe with the hands up. Tanis Esther is Yoshua by the sword. Like historically also in Shushan on the 13th of Purim.
Well, why Tanis Esther Yoshua by the sword? What's the connection?
Because that's when they went to war. The war was on the 13th.
The war
was in the days of Shushan and
what's Yeshua have to do with it?
Yeshua was the first one to do the sword.
Oh, okay.
So the Jews in all the Midas Achshirsh and the Jews in Shushan for an extra day, they are to continue. They're carrying the Yoshua heritage. They were there with the sword. Now we said, but where's the Moshe Rabbeinu? We said it's the Shabbos before. Okay, good. So Yud Gimel was the Muhammad, and that's a hemshech of the koach of Yoshua. Yoshua Shol. Where's Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu comes in. So now it makes sense. You have the Zechira before, and so in an eventual year, it really works out very well. The Zechira before the Asiyah of the Tainus also, because the Tainus is Erev Purim. Zachor is the Shabbos before. So here's what I'm grappling with. This year, it's reverse. We had Tanis Esther before Shabbos Zachor. Well, for reasons that because it's an easier tanis, so it's a kayadua because it's not zecher lechorban, it's zecher lemochaba or zecher to the tshuva that they did. It's not like connected like Som Gedalia or the Asar B'Tevis, Shivos B'Tamas or Tisha B'Av, where these right, right. There's no aspect of chorban. Even Som Gedalia is not really. Even Som Gedalia, by the way, is not really zecher chorban like Asar B'Tevis because it was it's not. Maral talks about it. Even that's not really zecher chorban, and this is even less than that because it's not connected to any tragedy.
It's sorrow we call it. So it's a yom sorrow.
It'd be yom as because it was it's a zecher had so much of his Zachor. We make a memory for how they fasted and cried out, but it's a memory for how they fasted and cried out, not because of a calamity. That's why Tanis Esther.
We call it yom sorrow seinu. We say anenu or shamanenu be yom sorrow.
Yeah, okay, because it is a day of tshuva, and we take advantage of that day to cry out about anything that's wrong with our lives, like we did today. Talk about the Oscars, which we should have. And I gave a whole schmooze in the night call, last night about how it's so apropos. Knesses Kodim, Nikalo Yidim, the worldwide Shema was so apropos. Because they should do it every year on Tanis Esther and in half year times also. Bezrat Hashem.
Time.
But here, the thing I'm getting to right now, so Tanis Esther, so as I understand it, unless there are other reasons, but off the top of my head, because of the kula of the day, right? So, first of all, Jelly and the Titus, we delay it. Which we don't want to do. We don't want to delay it till after Purim. It's kind of silly, but it's not really Puranius, A, and B, and we don't delay it to the Friday. We delay it to the Thursday because it makes it easier for us. We don't want to fast on Shabbos. It's interesting. Dogs. There's two aspects. There are the Shanas in Chazal that amongst the dog, but you have other Shanas in Chazal. There's Azus the Kedusha, Hani Kalbin the Chatzif, and there's Azus the Kedusha, and there's Azus, the Sitra Achra. Amalek was the Azus Sitra Achra. There's also Azus the Kedusha. Right. It needs to go out. Yeah. If you can let her out, can you go outside? Outside?
Sunny. She's let her go.
But she won't go far.
Okay.
At least I don't think so.
Okay.
Leave the door ajar.
Leave it open?
Leave it open, yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. Out there in video land.
Okay.
She's saying local? Yeah.
Right now she is, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, she doesn't want to go out alone. All right, Sonny, wait. Go to Dove. Upstairs, Dove. Upstairs. Dove. Upstairs. Go to Dove.
Dove Yehuda.
Dove Yehuda. Sorry about that out there in Radio Land. Sonny, come here. Dove Yehuda. Dove Yehuda. The dog needs probably just to pee. Needs someone. She won't go out alone, which is the right thing to do. Someone just got to take her right outside. Ima. Go Ima. Oh, man. Yeah, that warrants another drink. Anyways, and Yoni feels my pain. He's with me. You never drink alone. It's like, it's like abandonment if you drink alone. Man, this bottle is going quick. It's supposed to be for pouring shots for visitors on Purim. Come over Purim, BYOB, Anyways, let's get serious now. So now listen. So this Tanis we pushed off to Thursday before, right? Make it. I don't think we had any other option. right? For technical reasons, but so part of it's cool to even push it to the Thursday before, right? But actually, my question revolves around how to make sense of the order, because you think it should be the Zachira and then the Asiya, even though the real Asiya is Purim. So it's still technically Zachira before the Asiya. But the aspect of the war, you would think that the hands up, which is represented by supplemented by Shabbos, and that's what represents Moshe Rabbeinu's hands up. It should come. It should be before the Tainus, before the Tainus, which represents the war. And over here we have it the other way around. We have the Tainus that represents the war. Now we could say that really Hua Din Nami, because the Tainus is so cow that was so okay. So it's totally off kilter, but we didn't want to be Mavatal the Tainus totally. Okay. Right, because it came out on Shabbos, right? The day of the Tanis should have been Shabbos. That's Yud Gimel. We don't want to be we want to be about the Tanis. So it could be that on this year, it's totally off kilter, and maybe we really shouldn't have needed to fast at all. But we didn't want to be Mavatal the Tanis. Which, by the way, there's a Makovrat. Rebbe holds that if Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbos, there's no Tisha B'Av that year. But the Gemara argues, that's not the halacha. It seems also same thing. Even by times that it's kal, we don't be mavatal tanis totally. So we push it off, even 2 days in advance, not erev Shabbos. There's, Thursday. Make life easier, as I understand it. It's one that's function of its coolest, because really what we should do is really push it off till after Purim. So we really should do if we because that's what we do. By Tisha B'Av and Shivas B'Tans comes on Shabbos. We don't do it earlier. We do it later. We push it off.
The whole
but of course, but of course, it would be absurd if we did it that way. Kula, not kula. It's just philosophically be a little bit difficult. Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, I'm sorry. It's all scotch on empty stomach. Yeah. So, but let's just talk about how we're going to work it out now. We're going to have Shabbos after the day that's connected to Milchama. You would think that if anything should come first watch Moshe Rabbeinu's hands up first, which is the Shabbos, and then go stab your enemy with perfect faith in Hashem, right? And here we're doing it the other way around, right? The Tanis, which is the Muhammad, which is Miksas Asiya. It's not the Gemara Asiya. That's Purim, because you have to be after Amalek for the real Kiyum. And that's the Chiddush of Purim. It's a portal to the future. Purim is a portal to the future of a day without Amalek. We pull that power from the future into the present. That's the godless of Purim. Really, it's a portal to the future. It's a portal. That's why also Shushan Purim. Pretend Yerushalayim is rebuilt and celebrate any place that used to have a Chom as if it says Chosh Shushan. The only of Purim in general is a portal from the future into the present, right? And that's why it's Taka the Yom Tov of the future. All the other models going to be bottle, and you may have Purim and Lo Yavu Tochir. Okay, so now the question is, how do we make sense? This year where we have the Hechshor Hasiya, of the Milchama before the Zachira that comes with Shabbos. The Zachira, right? So I think, I would dare say a Chiddush, right? I would dare say a Chiddush like this, Now, I probably say it's not limited to it's not only in a leap year. This could happen. This could happen as far as I remember in a regular year also, but I'm not sure, that Purim will come out on a Sunday, on a Motzei Shabbos, right? But there's a famous word in Melechas HaMishkan, that there's a famous word from, the Balei HaChassidus say this, but they probably have an earlier source. That, the Torah says in Parshas, it tells us how to build the Mishkan. Truma, Tetzaveh, half of Kisisa, before the Chet Egel. But right before, after the finishing, telling us all about Melechas HaMishkan, Torah says Shabbos, and then the Chet Egel happens. And Rashi says, name of Chazal, Melechas HaMishkan is trained to Shabbos to teach you, being in a Mishkan is not Docha Shabbos. Says, Aches Tavshtosai Tishmor, very careful, even though you're very, very zealous about building the Mishkan, don't build it on Shabbos. And therefore, there we learn also that therefore all Mlechas HaMishkan is what Machzor also do on Shabbos. If Mishkan is not Teicha Shabbos, right? That means what goes into building the Mishkan is what's also on Shabbos. Okay, great. And then in Parshas Vayakov, Moshe comes to Yaakov, Moshe, and he tells him Shabbos, and then he tells him Mishkan. So Rash says he told him Shabbos first to teach you that Shabbos is more important. It's not Dochem Mechza Mishkan. That's what Rashi says. But he said, Rashi, you yourself explained in Parshas Kisi, so it doesn't have to necessarily be in that order. It teaches that message. You could teach us Mechza Mishkan first, and then say Achash Shabbos, but be careful and keep Shabbos, and it's the same message. It doesn't have to be Shabbos first and then Melechas HaMishkan, which is the way you explain in Parshas Vayakov, because that's the order over there, to explain that Melechas HaMishkan is not Derech Shabbos. Right? So that's a famous kasha they ask. You don't have to dafka be Magdim Shabbos or Melechas HaMishkan to teach this message, because the Torah taught us this message in the reverse order. Melechas HaMishkan and then Achash Shabbos, and just from the Smichos we learned, All right. So the famous Hezber, and we say this in our Sefer also, we mentioned over here, and also because it has to do with Parshas Parah, and before Cheta Ego, even our Asiya was we were Nase Vinishma, that even if though, let's say, Vinishma is the goal, we were pure enough on the inside that we can work towards that goal and not lose our way along the way, right? So now, case in point, the tachlis of the week, tachlis Masesh Martz is Shabbos, right? But we got to work towards Shabbos. Hayom Yom Rishon Shabbos, Hayom Yom Sheni b'Shabbos. That Shabbos should be the capstone of a great week. So now we say that after the Cheta Egos, put on Rosh Chasidish Svarim. I'll probably say this from the Zohar and the Ari, right? That before Chet Ego we were pure, so we could try to climb the mountain and not lose our way along the way, because we're pure enough to have a good sense of direction, right? But if you are tainted on the inside, so your moral compass is broken, and you may lose your way. So you have to have Shabbos first before the week, that during the week when we contend with all the chayil, to make sure we don't lose the way, we have to have Shabbos first. You have to have Shabbos first. Right? So we have to have Shabbos first to give us a moral compass. And then we have the days of the week, and we won't lose our way during the days of the week. And then the second Shabbos will be a very high Shabbos, that we'll have worked for it all week without having lost our way. So that's the shot they say. You kept two Shabbos Kilchasim would be Niga. Why two? One for before, one for after. It's talking about two in a row. That one to give you a good week, and then the second Shabbos, because a great week of Chachana and building up to it, that's going to bring the Gula. We need the Shabbos before to have a good week. You have a good week, you have a great Shabbos. Right? So I would dare say that, especially in this year, we spoke about this a lot of times in the course of this year, that this year of Shnas HaIbur, of equalizing, and Tikkun, right, a little Kaparas Pesha, being, reconciling the lunar cycle with the solar cycle, which is to, do a countermeasure to Miud Hayarech, which made the moon smaller, and also hence made its cycle shorter. That's all part of Miud Hayarech. And this year is to help lengthen the lunar cycle to equalize it with the solar cycle. It's a tikkun from Miud Hayarech, right? And without getting into all deals, we spoke about this actually by Donnie's house in the Purim Cotton Shmuz. Go get it. There's a lot of good racism in that Shmuz. Right? Good stuff. And that's why it's not available on YouTube. We're selling it on eBay for a lot of money. So I would dare say, sorry, in Ishtas HaIbur, we're in Adar Sheni already, where we've made the tikkun, we're making the equalization. We're in Adar Sheni, that we could have the Asiyah before the Zechira. It's like we have a great week before Zachor Siyam Shabbos Lakacho. We have to have Shabbos, Zachor Siyam Lakacho, then with that we go into the week, that now Shabbos gave us our moral compass, and now we could go. But that was necessary after we got tainted. I would say, at least in the Shnasa Ibor, question is what will we say in a regular year when we'd have Purim coming out on Sunday. But at least for this year, we could say at least Chetzi Atam, which, by the way, I've never checked. When Shabbat, or whether it wouldn't surprise me if someone would show me that Purim only comes out on Sundays in the Shnasa Ibor. Wouldn't surprise me, but I never checked. I don't know. But at least for a Shnasa Ibor, we could say that because we've had this extra month, Besod Ula Kapora special, we passed through Rosh Chodesh Adar Sheni, which is the last time we say Ula Kapora special. Because the Kapora is a special edition for the Haviolai Kapora Shemiati Yisrael. After that, we don't say it because we made the Tikkun already. Because Nisan now, next Rosh Chodesh, will come out perfectly in the spring. We made the Tikkun. We made it. So at least chach. For this year, we'll say emabu taima, right? I'll be Jewish, I'm not that. The way we make sense of it is that because we've been zocher to an Adar Sheni already, and kaidor from the guy that Adar Sheni is kulo tshuva. It's made out of 3 sets of Asar Sibei tshuva, because Asar tshuva is the difference between Rosh Hashanah is the new year on the lunar cycle, and Yom Kippur, which is the day of Kapara, reconciliation, is when the solar cycle catches up 10 days later. And the Asher Sibei Tshuva is the difference in between. We have to do Tshuva to close the gap, right? 3 sets every third year you have an Adar Sheni. So it says the Goyim, Adar Sheni is built out of 3 sets of Asher Sibei Tshuva. We've already tapped into that koach, and we can have the Asiyah before the Zechira. We have enough of a innate moral compass that we could be oiseh, right? Do milchama against the Ra, on Thursday, and then come to a higher recognition of the emes, an even higher recognition of the emes, right? On Shabbos, and then the Purim will be really, really off the charts, as far as Amkus and Or, right? And being lamala from the Chet Eitz Adas, Ad Lo Yoda. L'chaim.
Go on. I mean, the partial way.